Welcome to AsyncCode. Join me for more fun coding tutorials. Like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the action. C++ function overloading is a feature in C++ that allows you to define multiple functions with the same name, but with different parameter lists. The key idea is that the functions should perform similar tasks but can handle different types or numbers of arguments. The C++ compiler distinguishes between these functions based on the function signature, which includes the number and types of parameters. This example demonstrates function overloading in C++ by defining multiple versions of the add function that handle different types and numbers of parameters. It includes three overloaded functions, one to add two integers, another to add two floating point numbers, and a third to add three integers. The main function calls these overloaded add functions with various arguments, and the program outputs the results of each addition. The goal of this example is to showcase how C++ allows functions with the same name but different parameters to perform similar tasks, improving code readability and flexibility. It highlights how overloaded functions can be used to handle different data types and numbers of inputs efficiently within a single program. Include the iStream library for input and output. It allows us to use std cout to display results. This is to avoid writing std : before standard library names like cout and nl. Add two integers. A and B are parameters. These are placeholders for values passed when calling the function. They will hold the integers you want to add. In this function, we expect to receive two integers. The return type is int, which means this function will return an integer value as the result of the addition. This is an expression. It adds A and B and returns the sum. Add two floating point numbers. Similar to the previous function, but this time we expect two floating point numbers, decimals. The parameters A and B are of type float. This means they can store decimal values, unlike integers. The return type of this function is float, meaning it will return the result of the addition as a floating point number. Adds the two floats and returns the result. Add three integers. This function takes three integer arguments, a, b, and c. They represent the three integers we want to add. The function returns an integer, which is the sum of the three integers. Adds a, b, and c together and returns the result as an integer. Declare variables to hold the results of our function calls. This variable will store the result of adding two integers. This variable will store the result of adding two floating point numbers. This variable will store the result of adding three integers. Function call to add two integers. Calls the add int function, passing 5 and 3 as arguments. The result, 5 plus 3 is equal to 8, will be assigned to inResult. Function call to add two floats. Calls the add float function, passing 4.5f and 5.5f as arguments. The f suffix tells the compiler these are floating point values. The result will be assigned to float result. Function call to add three integers. Calls the add function, passing 1, 2, and 3 as arguments. The result, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is equal to 6, will be assigned to trip result. Output the results to the console using std_cout, displaying the sum of two integers. Displaying the sum of two floating point numbers. Displaying the sum of three integers. Return 0 to indicate successful completion of the program. Now run our code.